Good morning. Welcome to the Long Live Alternative Parties podcast. Free Press Media Press Inc., an alternative parties books publisher, sponsors this podcast. I'm Andrew Bouchard. Welcome to the Long Live Alternative Parties podcast. Today we have another exciting guest. We have the Orange County Libertarian Party going to talk about all the exciting things they do to advance their exciting agenda. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Let us get started by you kindly giving us an introduction to yourself, a brief biographical sketch.
Sure. So my name is Pietro Geraci. I am the chair of the Orange County Libertarian Party, which is about an hour and a half north of New York City. So I've lived in the Hudson Valley my whole life. And I chair the affiliate. I'm also on the Libertarian Party of New York State Committee and the Libertarian Party of New York Executive Committee. I was a delegate to the 2020 National Convention. I'm a delegate to the 2022 National Convention. I'm also involved with the Youth Caucus. And I was very, very involved in the Libertarian Party. Really just jumped in trying to make a change, trying to make a difference, and give voters a third option, a better option. We're the party of principle. And we're just doing what we can here in Orange County to build up our membership and run candidates and make a difference.
Excellent. So what led you to the Libertarian Party in the first place?
Well, most of my family's Republican. I grew up in a conservative household, and I sort of adopted those views. And then I went to college, went to Vassar College, a very, very, very different environment, very far left environment, a lot of socialists for some reason. But, very far left school, so that had a bit of an impact on me. And I also got involved with Young Americans for Liberty, and we had a chapter going there, and I was president of that chapter, and I was the state chair for 2 years with them. So I've been to a bunch of their conventions, and the ideas just sort of grew on me of libertarianism. And it became more and more appealing, and I just thought, this is more where I am. This is my philosophy. This is what I believe. So I was a small L libertarian. Certainly by the time I graduated from college, and then was it a year later, I think, I just had enough of the Republican Party because I was sort of on the third parties can't win mentality. And then I just the Republicans are awful. They have no values. They're not conservative at all. They don't do small government. And I said, forget this. After Larry Sharp's appearance in New Paltz in Ulster County, I was familiar with Mr. Sharp previously from his 2018 run for governor. I really liked him, and I would have voted for him if I was living in New York at the time. I was in New Hampshire doing some political work, but he's a really great guy, and he convinced me to switch my registration, so I did. I think in early 2019, I switched my party registration. Definitely best political move I've ever made, and it's just all gone on from there. I'm very glad that I did that. A lot of interesting people I've met, a lot of really great people that I've met, and I'm glad we can do some good work and be an alternative to the two-party system, which is really more of a one-party system, and present voters with a better option.
Sounds great. So earlier you mentioned that your area is an hour and a half away from New York City. What are the other demographics of the area?
Well, certainly it's redder than the city. Where I live specifically, there are more Democrats that have moved in, and Democrats outnumber Republicans, but only slightly. And that doesn't seem to matter in elections, especially off-year elections for local races, because Democrats don't vote in the off years. So the town government is very red. The county is red. It's definitely more purple, but I believe the majority in the legislature is Republican. The executive is Republican. It's likely to remain that way for a while. But it's, in the broader geographical area, and it's definitely more purple overall, but certainly not anywhere near as blue as New York City. Not quite as red as some of the more rural areas, although we do have rural areas in the county. Those are definitely more red. But, you get a good mix. Our assemblyman where I live in our district is a Democrat. The state senator is a Democrat that was flipped from a Republican a few years back. And I just flipped another state senate seat, actually from Democrat to Republican, out in western Orange County. And some of these districts go beyond our county. But some of those have flipped in recent years. And it's definitely more of a purplish area. And depending on where you go, it can be more red, more blue. But, not exactly hyper-partisan.
Sure. So earlier you mentioned that you're a chair. What are the roles and responsibilities of your chair position?
Well, I mean, there's a few things. I mean, I guess I serve as the face of the county party, and so I do write op-eds to the paper from time to time, and I have my name, I put my title next to it. I think it helps with grab readers' attention, helps build up our party. So that's why I do that. But I'm just there to keep everything going and to run the party and organize meetings, and come up with the agenda for them, come up with activities that we might be doing, any protests perhaps. We haven't done that in a while. But we were in Middletown, which is one of the cities in the county, for when they're opting out of cannabis sales. We organized a little bit and we were there for that. We have a candidate who's been running out in Middletown first for city council and now for school board. So we're going to see what we can do to help there. But, definitely my job to help try and coordinate efforts with our candidates. We usually don't have, we're still in the growing stages. We don't have very many. But when we do have a candidate, we try and do what we can, organize people to knock doors for them and put up flyers or door, what do they call it? Now my mind is blanking, but door hangers. Yeah, that's it, door hangers. So hopefully we can get some people to do that in the upcoming school board race that we have. And basically, and also just make sure that all the other officers are doing what they need to be doing, keep making sure everything is good there. But overall, just keeping the ball rolling, keeping the lights on, making sure that we are meeting, that we're in compliance with state party rules as well as our own rules, and just basically just running things in cooperation with everyone else. And I've made some phone calls to try and get new members in. That's something I've done, and just putting us out there. And then tabling too. That's right, tabling at local events. So I've been scanning for those and making sure that we have a table at some of those events, and making sure that we have the money to be able to pay for those events as well as for tabling materials. So I help with that, and that's definitely a big part. Community outreach. So I help organize that. We also have other officers, treasurer, secretary, and some other folks that help with that as well.
Sounds good. So how about the delegate responsibility? We may have people listening to this podcast who may be approached by their party to become a delegate. So what does that entail?
Well, it entails going out to the location of the convention. So for this year, that is out in Reno, Nevada. And, you have to be chosen by your state affiliate to be a delegate. But if you are chosen, you go out there and you participate in the business portion. And I know they're doing trainings, there'll be some speakers, so that's available to everybody. But as far as making motions and voting on motions that relate to the rules, we'll take a look at our bylaws, the platform, as well as elections. You do vote in the LNC elections. That's the Libertarian National Committee. So there's 17 seats on that. You have the chair, vice chair, secretary, treasurer, as well as 5 at-large members. So that's all voted on by the delegates that are there. And then we have 8 regional representatives and 8 alternates. Those are elected by the delegates from each region. So here in New York, we're part of Region 8, which includes the New England states as well as New Jersey. So the delegates from that region will vote on their region rep and regional alternate, which I am running for the regional rep position. We'll see how that goes. But those are your main responsibilities. But, if a delegate can't fulfill it for the entirety, we do have alternates available. And I had an alternate fill in for part of the convention in 2020. I was not available for part of one of the mornings, so someone else filled in for me. I don't think there was too much that I missed anyway. But that's what the alternates roles are. So New York, it's like 43 delegates. I forget what every other state has. But so we do have a slate of 43 delegates and 43 alternates who will hopefully all be in Reno. And we'll be there and participating. Again, you don't have to be a delegate to attend the national convention. You can just go and participate. So you can't vote on anything, but you can go listen to the speakers and attend the trainings and hang out with people. So it's definitely a fun time, whether or not you're a delegate. It doesn't really matter. It's a fun time nonetheless. I had fun for 2021. I'm looking forward to 2022 convention. And also hoping that I can get out to Lake Tahoe as well, since we'll be in the area.
Interesting. So earlier you mentioned some activities such as protests and the like. What activities has your county been doing?
So we haven't done too much, but we have tabled at some community events. Okay. We'll be tabling again at a few. So like community days when people come out, or I think one of the towns has like a fall festival, so we were there. So we were one of the vendors there. Obviously, we're not selling anything, but we have a sign-up sheet. We have some materials. We have some buttons. People really like the buttons. So we passed those out to folks, and we encouraged them to sign up and get involved. We did have a petition that we were circulating to try and tell another town not to opt out of cannabis sales. For some reason, a lot of these local towns in New York, whether they're Democrat or Republican run, have been opting out of cannabis sales after the state legalized it, which I disagree with. So we've done some protests there, at least in Middletown. I mean, I've personally gone around to several different towns, and not just in Orange County, but neighboring Rockland County, because we're still working on getting their affiliate started and trying to convince these towns and cities to not opt out. It's weird because we've had Democrats opt out, we've had Republicans not opt out, which is not necessarily how you would expect that to go. But Middletown is the one where we had a nice force of people there, including the candidate for city alderman. That's what they call it there, not councilman, alderman. I don't know why. It's the same role, same function. But so city alderman, so he was running for that. So he spoke, I spoke, our secretary called in, he spoke, and the mayor wasn't too happy with us there. But you know, that's what we're here for. We're here to cause politicians pain. We caused them pain, which is perfectly fine by me. Because if you're going to trample on your own economy like that, then we should cause you pain, and we should agitate you because you're messing with the economy for some reason, and you're not going to keep candidates out of your city, and so like, what are you doing? So that's something we had focused on. Right now, our biggest thing will be collecting signatures for Larry Sharp. Due to increased ballot access requirements, we need 45,000 signatures. That's 45,000. And they have to be from a certain number of congressional districts. I forget what the exact number is, but they can't all be from New York City, which is unfortunate. So we need them from all across the state. I'm hoping we can get a good number of signatures for Larry. He's running for governor, so that we can get him on the ballot. It's very important that he gets on the ballot, because if not, then the Board of Elections no longer has to track and enroll Libertarians, and they can change their registration to other, which makes it a lot more difficult for us to recruit, because that's going to be very confusing on the voter list, and then we'll end up with a bunch of other folks whose parties were wiped off the ballot, like the Green Party and the Independence Party and the Sam Party, and we'll end up contacting a bunch of those folks who probably would be less interested in the Libertarian Party than the folks who are enrolled Libertarian. And besides that, we were also trying to win back our ballot access. Larry earned ballot access back in 2018. He got enough votes. We had automatic ballot access, and then they took it away from us by requiring us to get more votes, not just for governor like it was. So it used to be every 4 years you needed 50,000 votes for governor. Now you need 150,000 votes for either governor or president. Actually, it's both. You need for both in order to maintain your ballot access. So we did not get that for Joe Jorgensen, our presidential nominee in 2020. So we lost our ballot access, and we are suing, but I don't know how well that lawsuit's going to go. So we're operating under the assumption that it's not going to go the way we want it to, which means we really need to get these 45,000 signatures, and we need well over 150,000 votes. Because if he only gets 150,000 votes, we'll have ballot access until they pass a new budget where they hike the requirements up even further. So we really need close to 1 million votes, or if not hitting that 1 million vote threshold, so that it can be very clear that there is no getting rid of the Libertarian Party in New York. There is no more wiping us off the ballot. We're here to stay, and we're here to make waves, and we're here to hold the Democrats and Republicans accountable. If that means that we cause their candidates to lose, well, tough luck. They'll nominate a better candidate next time. Politicians are not entitled to your vote. So that will be our biggest thing. And petitioning actually starts today. Today is the first day petitioning for that. And it runs, we have very limited time actually. It only runs like 6 weeks. Not even. It runs till around the end of May. I forget the exact date, but it's before the National Convention. The National Convention is Memorial Day weekend, so it's very, very limited time. It's like 5 or 6 weeks, not even 4 weeks, which it's extremely limited time, especially compared to what other states have for their petitioning periods, and other states have it where you can pay and you'll get on the ballot. New York doesn't have that. New York, the only way on is with getting these ridiculously high number of signatures. So hopefully we can get a nice force together to go out and knock doors and go to parks and go to bars or go wherever in order to get those signatures. And we actually have a meeting coming up Thursday, and I'll be going over with folks who show up how to do that, how to get signatures, how to make sure that they're valid, because there's a lot that can go wrong with petitioning. It's a lot more complicated than it sounds. And unfortunately, the way it works is if, there's a list of 10 signatures on the sheet, if just one of those is invalidated, then the whole sheet is invalidated. So that's 10 signatures, that could be 9 valid signatures that are no longer counting because of that one bad one. So you have to be very careful with how it's done. You have to be very careful with how everything is numbered. And so we'll be going over that because that is the most important thing right now, is making sure that we get Larry Sharpe and his slate as candidates on the ballot. We're also running somebody for lieutenant governor, for comptroller, for attorney general, and for U.S. Senate. So we have a nice slate of 5 candidates, all very fine candidates, very experienced candidates who will represent the party well, but we need to get them on the ballot. So it's quite the uphill battle that we have ahead of us, but I'm excited. I think we can do it. I think we can show all the folks who are doubting that this will work, that it can work and it will work. And I'm looking forward to getting Larry on the ballot and seeing where that goes.
It sounds like you're doing it through the members of the organization. So is it all volunteer to get on the ballot, or are you using paid canvassers?
We are hoping to do paid canvassers. That's going to depend on our financial situation. The county affiliate definitely does not have the money to do that. we just don't. But the state party does have some funds that it can use for that effort. I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen with that. We do have an executive committee meeting tonight, but I don't want to say too much on it. But we were hoping to be able to pay some folks. I mean, obviously we prefer volunteer because that's a lot cheaper, but we recognize that this is a monumental effort. Something like this has never been done before. I mean, Larry was obviously on the ballot previously, but you didn't need 45,000 signatures in 2018. I don't know what it was, but it wasn't 45,000. So this is a really unprecedented effort, and it's really, uphill battle is kind of an understatement. Like, this is a monumental challenge. So we recognize that in order to meet the onerous requirements, that we probably will need to pay some folks, and we have that effort going. So, I forgot to put that in the email. I sent out an email last night ahead of the meeting. I totally forgot to add something about paid petitioning. So, oops. No, I mean, I can always add a thought. That's a thought that just occurred to me that I need to do. But, so the state party is hopefully going to pay some folks to knock doors. It'll be an hourly wage. And hopefully we can get some people knocking doors all day, every day, and that will help get us where we need to be. But I do believe the Sharpe campaign, I don't want to speak for the Sharpe campaign, but I do believe they're going to try and do the same. Again, I can't really speak for their campaign. I don't want to say too much, but I think they will be doing the same as well. And hopefully, obviously again, we'd rather not pay people because you can put that money elsewhere, but again, it's a huge effort, it's a huge undertaking. Something like this has never been done before. So if we have to shell out some money in order to get it done, then we'll do it. But I can't speak any more than that. I can't divulge too much. But we do plan to have paid petitioners in order to get this done.
Sounds good. So for our audience out there, whether they live in your area or elsewhere, how can they support the Orange County Libertarian Party?
Well, if you live in Orange County, New York, please come to our monthly meetings. You can you can email us at ocnylp@gmail.com. We also have a website up. I think it's just ocnylp.com. You can look, and there should be a contact form there. So that, you can also like us on Facebook, message us on Facebook. It's a great way to get in touch with us, and we'll add you to the email list that way so you know what's going on. I do not have a donation link up yet. We're working on that. It's another one of our projects, but you can certainly donate to Larry Sharpe's campaign by going to his website. I believe it's just LarrySharpe.com or LarrySharpeGovernor. If you just Google Larry Sharpe, his campaign site should come up. And certainly, please donate a few bucks there if you can. Also, the Libertarian Party of New York has a donation page, so you go to their lpny.org. There should be a big button that says donate. Please donate to help us, not just with ballot access initiatives, but any other projects that we're working on. We can definitely use the funds, so please, you can definitely support us that way. And you can also check us out, take a look at our platform, take a look at what we've been up to in the news, especially if you live out in Western New York. They've been doing a lot of good things out there, or even, up in Saratoga. There's been a lot of activity up in Saratoga. There's been activity in the Buffalo area, in Rochester. So if you live out in those ways, definitely consider getting involved. And, even if you don't live in the state of New York, consider getting involved in your local affiliate wherever you are. Even if it's just going to a meeting and learning more about the Libertarian Party. I think we have a lot of appealing ideas. The way we see it, don't hurt people, don't take their stuff. What's not to like about that? That's our whole philosophy in a nutshell. don't hurt people and don't take their stuff. And we're really trying to get that message out. So if if you're fed up with your political party, whether it's the Republicans or the Democrats or a different third party that maybe is not as organized as we are, or they're just not subscribing to your values, well, check us out, the Libertarian Party. We get people from all over. Larry gets folks from all different parties at his events, including no party. We have a lot of folks who come in who weren't previously registered with a party. They were registered independent. So if that's any of you listening out there, that's certainly, consider getting involved with the Libertarian Party, because independent, well, it's hard to organize around a non-existent political party. But, I think libertarians really have the right ideas, and, we think that, a lot of government interference is what's been causing all these problems. You see inflation, you see, you saw the COVID lockdowns. We were very much against the COVID lockdowns, and we're very much against all this printing of money, which is causing all this inflation. So, there's very basic solutions to these problems that would help increase our prosperity, increase our freedom. And of course, we've been pro-LGBT since our inception 50 years ago. So I think we have a good balance of economic and social issues. Now, as we say, it can be as liberal as conservative or conservative as you like. Just don't force it on others. Again, don't hurt people. Don't take their stuff. So if you find that message appealing, then, check us out, lpny.org. You can go to larrysharp.com, or, again, Orange County, New York Libertarian Party, ocnylp.com. You can email us, ocnylp@gmail.com. And please consider getting involved and help getting this country and this state back on track.
Sounds like a great message. So thank you for coming on to the podcast and talking about the exciting things that your party has been doing.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. This has been great.
I wish you all the best in your party and also your personal endeavors.
Thank you.
Take care and all the best.
Thank you very much.